Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel for a Game Week 18 preview. Today I'm joined by the big man Bakar, who is going to be giving us some expert tips and advice as always. But first of all, Bakar, I don't think we can just jump straight into Game Week 18. I mean, in reality, Game Week 17 is still ongoing. That's what it says on the official site. Now, of course, I want to caveat this entire discussion about Solanke's points and the Luton-Bournemouth game by obviously saying that the most important thing is that Tom Lockyer is all right. And it sounds as though he is, which is fine. And I think that now we can have this discussion about what it means for our fantasy teams. So, Bakar, first of all, I do have to say that the ranks that we are showing on screen are pre-auto subs. They're pre-Solanke bonus points. They're pre-Solanke auto subs. You know, that they're live, but that's not what we're going to end this game week on. Your thoughts overall? What do you think?
Hey, hello, Jack. Hello, and welcome to all the listeners and viewers. Yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened in the game. Our thoughts and prayers are with Tom Lockyer, and we wish him a speedy recovery. When it comes to FPL repercussions, I think they've made the wise decision. They're just waiting on the Premier League to act. Whether the Premier League take a decision to postpone the game and have it played at some point later, if they announce it before, let's say, the Game Week 18 deadline, then I assume they will basically cancel Solanke's points and they will allow the auto subs to kick in. Alternatively, they could decide to just award the bonus, give him the 9 points in total, and move on to the next game week. I think they're awaiting a decision from the Premier League, and then they're going to act, let's say, on Thursday before the Game Week 18 deadline.
It could be the case, to be fair. I do feel like the match is, well, because it's been abandoned, I do feel like the points will most likely be taken away. But, I mean, look, there's nothing anyone can do about that now. I guess what it really means is down the line, you know, a potential double game week would happen for Bournemouth in that situation. And obviously that would be interesting. But let's talk about your game week now. 10 green arrows in a row, as it stands. But I mean, that will hold whatever happens with auto subs. Has that ever happened before in the history of your FPL career?
I think it might have happened in the season where I finished fourth.
Well, there we go. Yes,
which was a long time. Which was a long time ago. But I mean, it's obviously a very good phase to be going through. I mean, you go through these phases of FPL manager where everything sort of seems to be going your way. And at the moment, I'm enjoying my fair share of luck, and it's coincided with my Game Week 10 wildcard. So I'm very, very happy with my progress, and I'm hoping that I can maintain this momentum in the next 2-3 weeks, because this is a crunch time of the season where we've had, 7 game weeks in 35-40 days, with games coming thick and fast. If you can sort of nail this period, then it will go a long way in ensuring that you have a good season.
Yeah. Team looks good, Bakar. You've got to be delighted with you know, the front 7 that you said, to be fair, were going to be locked in. They have performed. Now, this is not Darwin included in that, of course. It is Haaland, but obviously that injury is you know, force your hand there. But the front 6, though,
the team is good. I mean, but at the same time, I do think at this point in time, I think I'm slightly behind the curve when it comes to transfers, and I can see myself taking a few hits in the near future. Maybe this week, maybe next week, but I don't think hits are too far away from my team, because there are things which are still up in the air when it comes to double game weeks. There are a lot of moving parts in FPL right now. We'll discuss them very shortly. So I think while my team has served me very well in the past few weeks, I realized that in terms of transfers, with just one free transfer in hand, I'm not exactly sitting comfortable with my team for Game Week 18.
Okay, fair enough. Right, let's get into it. As you said, loads of stuff to get through in this one. So many points of contention. We need to start with Haaland, because we don't really know what's going on there. We've learnt nothing really this game week in terms of his injury. What do you think? You don't have him. What is your plan for him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Haaland non-owner at the moment. I think the plan for all non-owners should be to try and be as flexible with your team to get him back whenever fit. As at this point in time, he hasn't really trained even in Saudi. So it looks unlikely that he will be back by Game Week 19. And if that is the case, then I think there is an argument to spread the funds around. As you know, there's an easy route to get Haaland back in Game Week 20 or 21 by selling Salah. Will be off to the African Cup of Nations in Game Week 21. So yeah, that's the plan for non-Haaland owners, is to just try and remain as flexible as possible. But if you think that the injury is long-term and if he won't be back before the new year, then there's an argument to, upgrade the rest of your team. Uh, if I was a Haaland owner, actually, I think I would wait till as close to the deadline in case I heard any updates. And again, if we didn't hear any further before the deadline, then I would sell him on for Ollie Watkins because in my opinion, he's the obvious captaincy choice this week, or for Tom Solanke, given the fact that Bournemouth could have a double in the
Mm.
times to come.
Interesting. So I guess if you don't own Haaland, if you do own Haaland, the message there is to wait as long as possible for any news pre this deadline. It must be tempting though, with 6.5 million in the bank, to just say, let's just get in Trent, Trippier, take some hits with these big players. Then, as you say, because you're going to be selling Salah anyway, one of Salah and Son probably down the line, game week 20, 21 for their respective competitions. Take another set of hits and it'd be okay because you're getting in great players.
I like Trent and Trippier. I mean, they're the two defenders with the highest XGI this season, highest expected assists. So there's definitely some all potential over there. And obviously, like you mentioned, with the funds available in abundance after Haaland's sale, most FPL managers are in this position where they can buy them. Uh, and I mean, Trippier's next two fixtures are good. Trent's underlying data has shot up in recent times. It's really, really good. At the start of the season, his underlying data was really poor. In recent times, he's doing really well. But I think this is very team dependent with potentially a lot of factors in play. Now, I want to run you through some of them. I mean, for example, are the fixtures good enough to justify the surgery? Firstly, secondly, will Newcastle and Liverpool blank in game week 26, or when will they have a double before it? Now, these kind of things are dependent on the EFL Cup.
Yeah.
Again, I wrote this in my thread as well that, let's say by the time Trent and Trippier have good long-term fixtures, that might be a time which coincides with you wanting Salah, Son, and Haaland again. So how will you manage? Will you need a wildcard to help in fixing the team structure at that point? I mean, wildcard at that point will be close, you'd imagine. And let's say if you pick Trent, I mean, Trippier and Trent aren't exactly the same price. Trippier is almost more than actually 1 million cheaper. So what upgrades can you get if you pick someone like a Trippier over Trent? Would you rather not have a City defender if they are to double in game week 21? That is likely. That could happen. And we might not even hear news of it before this game week's deadline. So these are, I mean, certain things. Again, Trent's price sort of could price you out of Foden, let's say. Someone like a Foden if you want him in the double. Then will you even captain Salah when Haaland is fit if Liverpool don't have a double? If not, then Trent does become a bit more appealing. And I mean, there are a lot of factors in play, and a lot can obviously change by the time all these players can come back from the African Cup of Nations and Asia Cup. But it's not as clear cut as just saying, it's easy to spread the funds around because, as mentioned, there are a lot of other factors in play as well, which could be very important in deciding strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very true. A lot to kind of unpack there, and I guess that will all be revealed in future game weeks. But it is important for this week because I've got to say, for my team personally, it is tempting. You look at how well Trent played against United. For me, it was just kind of controlling that game. Really looked the most threatening, really, of all Liverpool players. Looked much more involved than Salah, and as you said there, readjusting his funds.
As mentioned, I mean, I love Trent as an upside pick, but there are a few downside factors to consider as well. There's some cons there, but the pros are there. And if you think that the pros outweigh the cons, then you can go for it. At this point in time, I am very 50-50 in deciding whether or not to go for them. I mean, I'm in a similar position. Like with your team, our teams are sort of similar. So I'm sort of considering it, but at the same time, I'm not exactly sure because it's not exactly clear cut.
I see the comments, by the way, guys, and I know you guys want to see my team. It's very similar to Bakar's, really. It's just a few players different, and Bakar's the expert here. So let's focus on this man. Now, I do want to ask you a question about this week because captaincy, right? For you, you've just said earlier in the video there that you think it's a pretty easy decision as a standout captain, which is very interesting because according to Fantasy Football Hub's predicted points, there's not a standout captain, but if there was one, it would be Son.
No, I think I'd go with Watkins hands down.
Okay.
When you look at the bookmaker projections, Aston Villa are expected to score the highest number of goals in this week, and Unai Emery's home record is very formidable. I just think they'll have plenty of opportunities against Sheffield United, which have allowed the highest XG this season. So they are prone to conceding big chances. And when I look at Son's fixture against Everton, Everton are actually only behind Arsenal and Man City for XG conceded this season, which is remarkable. Because their numbers have been very, very good. And while I expect Son to get a return, I think Watkins' ceiling is higher. So, in my opinion, I would go with Watkins.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second here. Son at home, Tottenham team at home, obviously, again, like Villa, extremely attacking. More points for a goal, extra point for a clean sheet. On penalties as well. Does that not tempt you a little bit?
It does, but I think the factors that I've mentioned give Watkins more of an edge because of the haul potential he has. I do expect Son to return, don't get me wrong. I think he will return, but I just don't think it will be a 4-5-0 win. While Villa could smash Sheffield United 5-6-0 at home, and I won't be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do expect both games to be pretty high scoring, to be fair, for the home team. Now, let's come on to the issue in your team, apart from the defence, which we'll get to in a second. Darwin. Now, he has been, quite frankly, a disgrace to football since we all got him into our teams. I don't really know what's happened to him. I saw the when he came on against Newcastle and scored those 2 phenomenal goals, I thought, wow, Darwin has arrived. And it's just not happened for him. What's gone wrong, and what are your plans with him?
Frankly speaking, everything has gone wrong since we got him. It's just not worked out. I mean, it's just not worked out. I don't really want to dwell on the transfer because at the time it made sense, but
Yeah.
Looking forward to things, looking forward from here on in. I don't think he's a hard sell. I think he's closer to being a sell than a hold, but at the same point in time, I don't think he's a must sell at this point in time. I expect him to start this week. I think he will probably be rested in the EFL Cup, and it would be important to keep an eye on his minutes over there. But then I expect him to miss the midweek fixture against Burnley in Gameweek 19 because the turnaround between the two fixtures, the Arsenal fixture and the Burnley fixture, are very, very close.
Yeah.
But again, there's an argument to keep him this week. Then you can sell him next week, depending on Haaland's fitness. You can sell him for someone like Alvarez or even Haaland if he's fit in the weeks to come. If you don't have Watkins, and I think Darwin to Watkins is an easy transfer.
Oh yeah.
If you're in a similar position like myself, I think there is a case of doing, Archer or Darwin to Solanke. There is a case because if Solanke is to double at some point later, it is a transfer that can be brought forward to, catch his double and take advantage of the fixtures against Nottingham Forest this week and then Fulham in Game Week 19 at the same time. So yeah, Darwin to Solanke is a transfer I am considering. I'm not exactly sure whether I'll go ahead with it.
Wait, so would you do Archer to Solanke, or would you do Darwin to Solanke?
I think I would do Darwin. I would do Archer, I think.
You do
I think
Archer,
I would probably do Archer.
Okay, so you'd bench
Archer,
Darwin and then
probably.
I guess eventually look to get Haaland back in for him and then continue with 8 playing attackers. But you'd have the upside there with the potential double and the short-term fixtures for Solanke.
Yes, I mean, I would probably keep Solanke then for his double later, and get him in for Archer. While I'll move Darwin on to Alvarez or Haaland later if City are to double in 21. I mean, even if they don't double, there's a case to have one of them against Sheffield United home in Game Week 20. So there's that.
Okay, let's talk about your defense. It doesn't look too strong. Pedro Porro in there looks fantastic. A player that I can't quite believe I don't own him yet, but I'm going to need to get him pretty soon. I think he just looks so devastating going forward. I mean, in the 93rd minute, he's still the one flying forward, gets a shot on target late on in the game. I just thought it was phenomenal. He looks great. The rest of it this week, though, not ideal. One decision that you're going to have to make, I guess, is how many Arsenal defenders to play. But maybe a more pressing concern, or I mean, perhaps a good problem to have this week is Matty Cash sits last on your bench. What do you think about him this week?
I mean, he's been a complete letdown since I've got him in. He hasn't done anything except for drop in value. I don't know, God knows how many price drops have I incurred on him, and it doesn't look good this week. I think if a lot depends on Pau Torres' injury this week. Let's say if Torres is fit, then I don't see a world where he starts, where Cash starts, because I would expect Bailey, Yabe, Watkins to line up front. I don't think Cash will play in that case. But if Torres isn't fit, then there is a chance that Cash could start, because then I would expect Konza and Carlos to start at the centre backs with maybe Cash playing as a right back. But even that is still sort of up in the air because, with Longley in place, I think he could come in as the left centre back. So yeah, Cash has been a bit of a disaster, and we're not really sure about expected minutes this week. But long story short, if Pau Torres is fit, I will likely either sell cash or bench him for one of my Arsenal defenders. And if Torres is out, then I think I will take the chance and risk starting cash
Okay.
because the fixture is there, and there are not too many good fixtures this week for clean sheets, and I think Aston Villa at home to Sheffield is one of them.
Yeah. Who would you be looking to sell him for? I don't have Porro, so I think for me, I'm not entirely sure, like you said, about going right up to a Trent, or I can't actually get to a Trippier. I'm locked out of that in terms of too many Newcastle players. But for me, Porro is the one that I would be looking to get. You've already got him. Who's another option?
I could get another Villa defender. I could get Trippier. I could get Trent. There are a lot of options,
Yeah.
honestly. But again, it depends on how much I want to invest in the rest of my team.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Because
Okay.
of course, I mentioned earlier, the problem with investing and spreading too much funds around. If I don't see it as much of a problem, then I can bring Trent. And that's not a problem. I like Trent and Trippier, honestly, but the problem is more to do with the strategic long-term plan of getting Haaland back.
Sure thing. Now, obviously, you're waiting for news here, but say everything stays the same until deadline. And
Jack, I'd also like to mention at this point, I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
One last thing on this is that there's also, a chance that I could end up keeping cash and playing the Arsenal defender because who knows, I might want to get someone like Walker next week if the City double is to get announced.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Right?
Okay. Well, yeah, that's
exactly
important.
You hit the nail right on the head that, it's important to wait for news because a lot is still up in the air. And I do think this is one of those weeks where, saving could be very beneficial. Bournemouth could have a double announced. City could have a double announced. And that could be after the deadline. And in that case, having an extra transfer could be very beneficial. I'm not really sure whether I can avail the same luxury with my own team because I am slightly concerned about it this week. But
Okay.
if your team is in good health, then I think it's a good week to save a transfer.
Right, recommended transfers time. Because you're mentioning them there, the recommendation is to bank your free transfer. As you've just said, there you go. I mean, look, I would say in general that the hub algorithm and the AI recommended transfers are relatively conservative, but historically that has been the best way to play the game, is not take loads and loads of hits and kind of just be calm and wait for information, as you're saying. The alternative option is to sell cash for Trent. The algorithm not really looking too much at whether you need to buy Haaland back in 19, 20 or a certain game week. It just looks at the predicted points and just says Trent is predicted to score so many more points than cash, and also the defenders you're going to be starting this week and in future weeks. What do you think about those moves?
I agree with them. I think both of them make a lot of sense and they have a lot of merit.
Yeah. I don't know. Trent is a tough one. I'd be tempted to go there, I really would. But I haven't looked fully into what I'm going to do with Haaland. If he's back for 19, I want him back for Darwin. I think having Darwin there as well, just a player that just wanted to go. But yeah, there we go. Well, there we go. Guys, if you would like to see your own AI recommended transfers personalized to your team, the link to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub is down below in the description and the pinned comment as always. Still a 30% off offer that's going on for Christmas. Bakar, good luck next game week. We will wait and see what happens. Still a lot of stuff really in the air. We're waiting for a lot of information, and who knows what's going to happen with Gameweek 17. But hey, hope you can make it 11 greens in a row and just continue on for the rest of the season. It's looking pretty good.
I hope so. I hope we're sitting here at this point next week celebrating my 11th green arrow. Thank you and good luck to everyone.
Good luck, guys.